Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fire Then Cannons, episode 13. And what a freaking time it is to be an Arsenal fan. Like, honestly, I can never, ever remember in my lifetime, and I've got someone who knows very much about my lifetime, remember Arsenal being in this type of position in the league where I felt so confident that I don't even want to say it out loud, but everyone knows what I'm talking about. And by the way, the special guest we have today on the show, look, to be honest, this is literally my first ever best friend I ever had in my entire life. This is my brother Ellie, and me and him have been watching the club together, growing up watching this club together, and yeah, this is his first time, by the way, on YouTube. And by the way, I put the comments, the Q&A in the chat, guys. Who is the better looking Baroda brother, Anton or Ellie? You guys can answer that one. No one will get offended. We all know you're going to vote for Ellie, but bro, how's it going?
Good, mate. Yeah, got the leg hole up. I know I'm not first choice now because I didn't get like weeks and weeks of notice. But yeah, good to be here. Good to chat shit with you. To the internet, and we'll keen to get stuck into speaking about our great club.
Yeah. And well, I actually get to finally kind of sit down with my brother who, we used to, as kids grow up, we used to know exactly how we felt about the club because we were literally watching the games together and having arguments about our disagreements on, this player's playing shit, this player's not playing shit, this and that. We used to kind of get at it during the game, and like we're not even paying attention to what's going on in the game because we're kind of like going back and forth. And our dad, by the way, very much involved in that 3-person chat. So now I'm kind of
Steven, big shout out to Steven. It's all his fault. The last 20 plus years of pain. Thanks, Steven.
Yeah, but so I'm just kind of really interested to kind of hear your takes on the club this year and how the season has been going so far. Let's just start with Crystal Palace. Obviously, by the way, show the people what you got going on before we start talking about this game.
Oh, me. Oh, special top. It's one of 20. So we've got some North London Forever and the clock over here. And I've got the Eze on the back. So custom top. The day Eze got signed, went down and got this top, I think 5 days beforehand, and went down to local people helping us out and getting Eze on the back the day he got signed. Well, 2 days ago, got to wear it and celebrate. Whilst he didn't celebrate, but I celebrated.
Yeah, I was doing this, although it came to my attention, for those that don't know, me and Ellie are Jewish, that this was a cross.
Yeah,
I'm like, I thought that was like Eze's signature celebration. I didn't even think about it. And I'm like literally sitting there doing this. But no offense to those who are Christian, big up Jesus. But yeah, well, like, can you tell me, first of all, we got so much to talk about in terms of the narratives that's come out of this game, and obviously, tell me firstly, compare this year to last year. Like, Arsenal now are what, 4 for 4 in capitalizing on our title rivals dropping points this season. Like, let's start with that.
I think more importantly than our title rivals, because a lot of people focus on that. What I think is that we're actually 4 from 4 wins for games we drop points. So you've got Newcastle, West Ham, Fulham, and Palace are right there. That's why we're in the position that we're in. And that goes back to, I think, this summer, that Arteta and Berta and the board identified that we didn't have enough squad depth and enough to dig deep on when it was 0-0. We didn't have that solidity in defense and that confidence that Saliba gets injured You can bring mascara on, and we know heart rate stayed exactly the same when that happened. We know that we can see this out. So I think that it all goes back to the summer. It's not an accident that the most money we've ever spent in the summer, the most players we've ever bought in the summer, right? And also that there wasn't a lot of departures, so we didn't really lose anyone that
We
much.
lost
Speak about Thomas
Partey,
Jorginho,
Tomiyasu.
So look, Tomiyasu didn't really play, and Martin Zubimendi's doing a pretty bloody good job. Norgard's been called on. He's been playing that Jorginho role and shutting out games. So I think again, a lot of people are going to speak about this title, everyone else, but I think what Arsenal are doing properly is looking after our business and fixing the mistakes compared to last year. And I think, those are the 4 games that I'm actually more interested in than what Liverpool's doing.
Yeah. So how do you kind of feel about this? I think maybe I've spoken to most Arsenal fans who have been on this program and on all the other programs I'm on. They kind of feel similarly to they're confident that once Arsenal kind of score a goal in the game because the defense has been so good, that from that point onward, you kind of feel like, yeah, we're getting the 3 points today. Like, did you kind of feel that way against Palace this weekend?
Yeah, I did. I mean, a lot of that is about our defensive stability, but also it's about other clubs. All right, Crystal Palace, did they really make an attempt? Like, properly? When you get to the 91st minute and Dean Henderson's on the halfway line, putting long balls through, when we've got our defense, that's not an effort. So, I actually don't think teams are coming at us, right? Which is the reason why I'm sure we'll speak about set pieces, but it gives us a limited amount of options. So I actually think teams are too scared of us. Once we score that first goal, teams aren't opening up. So it's not our fault that it's 1-0 at the end. They're not opening up, but they open up and they have a go at us. That's when you get your 2-3-0, but that's not happening. So I think that's the main reason that we got 1-0 two games in a row. What did Fulham do? I mean, they didn't have a shot on target. Oh, by the way, this pissed me off. But the shot on target in Atletico Madrid, and also the shot on target that Eddie, big favour that he did for us a couple of weeks ago. That was rubbish. That wasn't a shot on target. So in my brain, Arsenal's gone 4 games without conceding a shot on target. October 2025 shall always be remembered for when we did not concede a shot on target.
Yeah. I was actually saying that. I was saying that on my tier video on my main channel on HotSport. By the way, you can hit the QR code at the bottom. You're gonna hit QR code to my brother for Cal's channel, but Cal's not here, at least for this weekend. Shout out to Cal. Hopefully at some point I give him an invite. He's in Japan. He's enjoying his time in Japan. Maybe he might jump on the stream as well, as this is his channel.
Japanese whiskey going in his honor.
You should have got the Japanese whiskey going. But anyway, I was saying that I don't even like you. By the way, you pointed out it was Eddie Nketiah. I was like, where the hell was this shot on target? I'm like, I see this on the stat sheet that there was a. So it just means it's like they count as a shot on target because like it was going somewhere towards the net, even though that had 0% chance of finding its way behind.
Let them count what they'd like to count. I'll remember October 2025 when we didn't give up a shot on target. Let the statisticians do what the fuck they want to do. Excuse my language.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so look, I think I'll mix up a lot of the stuff in here. I think as we start because it tells the story of the game. This was. I'm just going to jump into this early. Be that way just for time purposes. This was Jeff Stelling, by the way. You know Jeff Stelling, right? He used to be on Sky, legend, right? Not so legendary in my opinion on this take. This was sort of what he felt about Arsenal's performance against Palace.
And that goal as well.
They can't keep relying on set plays. They just can't. This is the 4th game they've been involved in this season. In 9 Premier League games, it's finished 1-0. Yeah, didn't win them all, obviously, and there's a 1-1 in there as well. For me, they've got great players. I love some of the Arsenal players. I love Saka. I love Odegaard. when he's playing. I love Eberechi Eze as well. But please be just a bit more expansive. I mean, watching Arsenal against Palace was watching paint dry. It's the classic. It was purgatory. I started watching that match. I'd had enough of it before Arsenal had a shot, actually, because their first shot was 33 minutes when they scored their first goal. I'd turned over by then to watch Villa against City, which was a much better game.
Well, I started with.
All right, bro.
What
do you think of
that? First thing I thought about was like, mate, Villa against City was also 1-0. Not sure what you were watching. And I'm pretty sure they scored early on and it was a ball fest. I mean, if we go back, how many 1-0s did he say? Did he say 4? This year? How many? What did he say?
Let me go back.
Well, regardless, the ones that I can remember. So, I mean, firstly,
this one.
Yeah.
Did we beat Bilbao in the Champions League 1-0 or no? Is that 2-0?
No, that was 2-0. So look, I can remember Fulham, Palace,
Man United,
and we had a friendly 1-0. We lost to Tottenham. I remember earlier, but anyway, regardless, I mean,
was Fulham? Fulham was
there are
1 or 2. Fulham. I guess was Fulham 2 or 1.
What? No, 1-0, mate. 1-0. It was Trossard back post.
Right, correct. Yeah.
My initial reaction to this, Anton, is there are 22 players in the pitch. 11 of them are Arsenal players. So, like I think I've already alluded to, we'll play expansively if the other team opens up. And you can see that in the Champions League, where teams don't sit in the low block as much. They're not as good. They're not as drilled defenders. We find holes. But if they sit 11 men behind the ball, park the bus, we're going to keep on going and going and going. And then the ball's going to go out for a throw-in. It's going to go out for a corner, and we'll take our opportunity, right? That's hardly a ball fest, right? I don't know why people are, pointing the finger at Mikel Arteta and how boring he is or anything like that. Speak to Oliver Glasner. Speak to Marco Silva, So, and I get it. You know what? Oliver Glasner, great tactics. I understand why they're doing it because we're so much better than them. Because if you want to come play football, we'll smash you 4-0. Ask Atletico Madrid how that feels.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's the part. This is my reaction when I'm hearing him talk. It's like, firstly, we are being expansive. If you look at like our average position map of that Crystal Palace game, basically all 10 outfield players are almost parked in Aston Villa's half. Not Aston Villa, Crystal Palace half for most of the game. Like, so to say that we're not being expensive, like David Raya spends most of his time way outside the penalty box. Like in the Madrid game earlier in the week, which by the way, we won 4-0, David Raya had to like come all the way back because he's cleared the ball near the corner flag and he's almost gotten beaten. So clearly
it's because he was bored. He hasn't done anything for 3 weeks, so he just thought he'd give us a bit of a heart jump,
but what if we're like, if you're saying that we're not opening up, that's insinuating that we're the team on the defensive and we're the ones sitting back. We're literally doing everything we can to try to open up a team that is playing extreme low. Like the low blocks now are like, they turned it up to like the next level. Like they turned the intensity up on the low box from the ones that we've had in previous season.
And it's not just if you're in the bottom half of the table either. We're in Manchester City, this is a few weeks ago now, but they played more defensively than I've ever seen. I've never seen a Pep Guardiola team get dominated so much. But the headlines afterwards, and maybe we'll speak about media later, but the headlines afterwards is...
We're already here a little bit. But
Arsenal are the ones who are not opening up. I will say, though, to be fair, I think some context is needed. I think the BBC shared that open play table. I'm not sure you saw that. I mean...
wait, I've got that.
You got it? You got it? Show me.
I've got that. Wait a second. I got to get rid of Jeff from the screen. Wait a sec. I've got that. Nope. There we go.
Here we go.
And that can make a better...
Here's the thing. Football has never, ever had this table. This is just bloody marketing. That's all it is, right? Why does this matter? What does matter? The most important thing about the visual you see on the screen is that legend in the red shirt, right? Because he is the absolute key. I actually don't think that if he wasn't fit, that we would be as good at set pieces as we are. If anything, people say, oh, you're so reliant on set pieces. We're reliant on Gabrielle to get on the end of things or get the first ball so Trossard, Eze can get the goal in. And we're also relying on Rice and Saka. I mean, fortunately, when Saka went off, we actually didn't have against Palace a corner from the right-hand side. But, you saw Trossard take a few free quicks, corners after Rice went off. They were dog shit. So I do think that this is delicate, but I also don't buy into this because how football works, last time I checked, you get the ball over the line, it counts as one goal. It doesn't matter how it got there, right? And if you win, you get 3 points and it goes onto the table. And at the end of the year, if you have the most points, you win the league. And no one's going to say anything about set pieces then. But what I would say, Anton,
but this is what they're getting ready for. And hold that thought for a second.
Yeah.
They're getting ready for their justification to undermine Arsenal if we do eventually win the league. I think this is what this is. This is like a lot of times they doubted that Arsenal could do it. Oh, they're going to bottle it eventually. They're going to bottle it eventually. City or Liverpool, for me, blah, 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 are better, or whatever. They got the experience. That's the narrative. Now, all of a sudden, Liverpool and Man City are not showing to be anywhere near consistent as Arsenal. Just in case the scenario where Arsenal do happen to get this over the line, this is their ready-made narrative. That's kind of how I feel this is looking to be like. Because it's ridiculous.
The narrative is trying to show. I think what it's trying to show is, can this keep on going? Right. I think at the end of the day, if we win the league, no one's going to be listening to Andy Pundit who said Arsenal didn't win it properly. No one says that. Right. They're obviously trying to keep interest. We're 9 games in. They want to speak about something. But I think the real question at hand that I take from this is this sustainable? What do you think about that?
The thing is that I would ask the opposite question, which is, do you think that Arsenal is going to go the whole season only scoring from set pieces? Like, no. You think about all the amazing, obviously, at the moment, in this moment in time, our goals are like this set pieces. These are our open play goals. Eventually, we're going to get more open play goals. It's going to equal itself out. Like, you think about, first of all, some of the players that are out right now. So Odegaard, Madueke, as an example. You got Eze's, Saka's, Trossard's, Martinelli's, Gyökeres. Gyökeres has barely gotten firing. We'll get into that as well yet. We got Zubamendi's, who's a great creator as well from deep. Declan Rice has been scoring scores goals, not just from set pieces, by the way. One of the other main reasons why we're so great from set pieces. But he also scores goals from open play. Arsenal eventually is going to score goals from open play. It's
personally,
just
I'm not too bothered. I'm personally not too bothered. If we win the game, we win the game, like I've described. Ball goes over the line, it's a goal. What I think specifically, I do think that people aren't talking about the fact that we're in one of the worst injury crises we've been in the last few years. No one's talking about that.
Because it goes under the radar.
Yeah, Saliba's not fit, right? When I was listening to the press conference from Arteta, he's very vague. Always is. Love that about him. Martinelli apparently is injured. To add that on,
I didn't even know that. Breaking news. I didn't even know.
Martinelli's out for Brighton. Whether that means
that's gonna almost guarantee Max in the starting 11, and I saw a quote where he alluded to that as well himself. So that'd be interesting.
We'll get there. But I actually think the two biggest changes that people forget is think about Arsenal in the last few years. Think about when we're out of possession and trying to win the ball high up, because that's how we get a lot of our open play opportunities. We press high, we get the ball, when there's space, we get a goal or we get a big chance. What's missing, I really think, as good as Gyökeres is at pressing, is people forget how amazing Kai Havertz is and how Martin Odegaard is.
I
and
didn't
how
even
their
mention
little,
Kai Havertz.
their little bromance, up the two of them chasing the goalkeeper and the centre halves and creating chances. I think you wait. I think when those two are back and firing, they're going to start a lot of games, and I think that high press will be a whole nother opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to forget that. Like we were a bit defensive at the end of Crystal Palace, but that's because
I think it was
we didn't
because
have
we had
much
made the
to bring
changes.
on.
Rice, Calafiori all of a sudden came off.
So yeah, the guys are keeping together. You got Rice, Calafiori, and Saliba off, right? A part of that big defensive block. I get why he went 5 at the back. I get it. I get why he brought, some people. I originally thought when Miles Lewis-Kelly was coming on for Eze and the substitution, I thought, okay, well, we're going to see Miles in midfield finally. No,
Yeah, I thought that
5
too.
at the back, but fair enough. And fair enough that you didn't put Hincapié in a position where he's exposed, right? He was able to contribute and he's under lower amount of pressure. I think
Well, he's
Arteta made
going to
the
get
right
his
call
chance now.
seeing
If
out that game.
Calafiori's out now, Hincapié is going to get his chance. He's definitely going to, I think, start. We'll get to that as well.
Calafiori's
tomorrow
fit.
night.
Arteta
Some
said
Calafiori's
Calafiori's
fit.
fit.
Calafiori's fit. Okay.
He's
okay.
fit. He said Saka's fine. He's over his sickness. Ben White is fit as well. Apparently.
Yeah, I imagine, and he's playing his former club as well, so I imagine he'll suit up tomorrow. But I think I actually want to get into this because one of the biggest standpoints, and I want to get your view on this, is Victor Gyökeres. So Victor Gyökeres, we brought him in to be the answer. I mean, at the striker, we're all, me and you, I know. We need a striker. We need a striker. We need a striker. You were a bit of a Sesko guy. I was always a Victor guy. But regardless, we're here. We're all united on the same thing because he's our guy now.
Hey, I did when Gyökeres was signed. I was excited as much as anyone. I did the "Here We Go" video. Be Fab. I beat Fab to it. Send that to the WhatsApp group.
You did.
I was a Sesko man. I was a Sesko man, but yeah, not a strong Sesko man. So I won't die on that sword.
yeah. But the point is, so at the moment he's got three league goals, 5 goals in all competitions, and we're still top of the Premier League and undefeated, perfect 3 from 3 in the Champions League. We're talking about not scoring from set pieces. Do you believe that Victor is kind of like on the precipice of starting to gain that confidence and be the goal scorer that we kind of brought him to be, or are you a bit concerned?
I don't think he's gotten that many opportunities and chances. I think it goes back to the fact that our wingers, Madueke being out, I actually think makes a big issue. You could see Saka, Palace was absolutely Madueke would have played. Saka was, thrown up in the bathroom in the morning or whatever was happening.
Yeah.
He would have played. So in that freshness off the left, you can see Trossard and Martinelli having good games is because they're fresh, right? Gyökeres, to my point, has been in that situation the entire year pretty much, right? I think really Gyökeres in an ideal world wouldn't have started against City, wouldn't have started against Liverpool, right? I think if you have Victor Gyökeres coming off the bench in the 70th minute mark, defenders will be like, oh no, here we go. I'm fatigued and I've got a massive bully here. So I think Victor Gyökeres hasn't gotten enough of a chance. I don't think he's not got enough chance. I think he's gotten too many minutes for him to be able to actually be his best self. Right, he's come from the Portuguese league to the best league in the world. He needs time to settle in. So I think that's a part of it. And I think the other part of it is that our wingers not being at their best, Martin Odegaard missing most of the season, these aren't unlocking many chances. So I think he will come good, but I think it's less about him. It's more about the guys around him.
Yeah, I mean, Although you kind of tend to allude to the fact that you think that maybe if Kai comes back, that you'd start him.
I think it depends on the game, right? I think you know, Kai can play in Declan's position. You know, I can see the two of them playing together. But I think in most situations, the time that they'll play together is probably when we're chasing the game, in frantic situations. But look, I actually honestly think Kai Havertz is a better footballer than Victor Gyökeres. But I think that there's 70 games in a season. It's designed to share minutes. Chucking Gabriel Jesus in there, the forgotten man, right?
Oh, I know. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if, by the way, Gabriel Jesus come back from injury and he's like
and scores like a brace, like 3 games in a row? I would go nuts. I'd love it. I'd love it. Sign that man
though
up.
I also he's also gives you options on the wing as well. Like remember in the Manchester City title Centurions, Gabriel Jesus' main role in that team was off of both either wings.
Yeah. Look. I think Jesus, whatever he gives us, I think most Arsenal fans would agree it's a bonus. It's a bonus, exactly. Yeah. But Kai Havertz is our best striker. He costs more than Vicky Gyökeres, just a little bit more. Just a little.
I don't know if I agree with you
because between friends.
I don't know if I agree with you. Striker.
Sorry, footballer.
Yeah. The wording there was a bit odd.
I think he's fair enough. I think he's a more complete footballer. I think that he'll get just as many minutes as Victor Gyökeres. And I think Victor Gyökeres playing 100 minutes a week rather than 180 minutes a week will make a massive difference.
Yeah. Well, look, I still believe that Gyökeres, like for me, I just think about like, if we get, he's never going to be Sporting Lisbon because the competition is nowhere is easy, right? But if we get like 25% to 30% of that goal tally, and he's all of a sudden starting to score goals with us already at the top of the league, like I think this is the narrative that I don't like about Gyökeres, and I'll move on to the next topic afterwards. But everyone's sort of like, if we were to lose a game, all of a sudden the pressure is going to start piling on Gyökeres. And like, we got this amazing comfort zone of being leaders of the Premier League by 4 points for those who want to be technical. If you're a believer in Bournemouth, 6 over City, 7 over Liverpool. And Gyökeres is sort of like, the pressure is a little bit off because it's not like his lack of goal scoring is what's missing from us being able to challenge for the title. We're doing that despite him not fully firing. Can you imagine if he starts firing? We'd be unstoppable.
I don't need to imagine, mate. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, right? He just needs to play less minutes so he can have higher impact in the minutes that he's playing. I think that's all it is to it. I think that his pressure, he does look a bit slow, right? He looks fast for a guy his size, but he does look slow compared to, let's say, Havertz. But the guy's fatigued. I really hope he's rested tomorrow morning. I really do.
All right. So I want to ask you a big question. And then from that on, we're gonna branch off into some other smaller questions based off that big question, because I want to talk about some sort of the narratives when it comes to people in these positions in the past years. Given the form of Liverpool, like for me, I've said this quite publicly now. I said it on Anton's Tears. I've said that on the video that I've just deleted because the sound didn't work. I said it on, I believe I said it on the Football Tears. I've been on so many freaking streams I lose. Big up to Kane. Kane is a regular on Football Tears. Kane's been on Fire Them Cannons, Newcastle fan. He goes, patience is a virtue. Not all strikers hit the ground running like Volta Messi.
Volta Messi. That little flick with the back heel, though, that was scrumptious from Voltamata the other day. Scrumptious.
I gotta give you credit, Kane. And by the way, I'm gonna re-record right versus wrong. So it's like all the takes I've said over the year. I'll give you a preview of that. I'm having to re-record it because the sound didn't work. One of the ones that I got wrong was Voltamata will take very long time to adjust to the league. And I said that, and Ash was on the stream with me. That was on transfer deadline day special. I was very wrong because of all the strikers that did come to the Premier League this year. He's hit the ground running the most. So I did admit that I was wrong on that one. So big up to Walter Messi. He scored against us as well. But what a nickname. What a nickname. He threw me off the track. Right. So I was saying that no Premier League champion.
Just quietly, Kane. I'll have a bit of a dig in. You are 12th in the league, though. To be fair, so Walter Messi can only do so much.
Ken goes very wrong. A little bit fair play. Yeah, look. I will admit when I'm wrong. That's the nature of the game. Like, you behind a microphone enough, you're going to say a lot of crazy shit. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong, and that's why I'm making shows about that. But I've made it very public that I believe that Liverpool is out of the race. No Premier League title champion in the history has ever lost 4 matches in a row. That is not title winning form. And Hassam has said it. Ali, I don't know if you know Hassam is, but he's a big time Liverpool fan who's on all the platforms. He's a big guy on YouTube. He says that he thinks Liverpool's out of the race because, like, that's the total amount of losses they had last year, and that's not even including like most of those losses happening after they already had won the title and they were on the parade float in their heads for the last 4 or 5 matches. Like,
so your argument is simply based off of the amount that they've lost.
Yeah, I just think based off the amount that they've lost. Man City, I'm not going to count them out. I've never ever I'm going to bet against Pep ever. So they're still, I think, for me, still in the race. They're not in the same category. They lost 1 game. I'm not being overreactive after one defeat. But the big question here, though, is
it was the most exciting game, though, at that time. Thank God you weren't watching Arsenal Palace, right?
Yeah.
Go on.
Came back on the thing, but I'll read it in a second. Ellie, in your opinion, I know you don't love to get ahead of yourself. And every time I get ahead of myself in the group chat, you're like, Anton, it's only match week 9, chill out. But do you believe that Arsenal are the favorites now to finally get the red and white ribbons on the Premier League trophy?
Can I go back to Liverpool first? Because I disagree with you. With all respect to Hassan, I think that it is way too early. You're not even supposed to look at the table, and I'll actually say to Kane, it's not 10 games yet. So if you do jump up from 12, fair enough. But after 10 games, we can look at the table. But it is really early, and yes, I get it. Liverpool have lost 4 games, but they still, in my opinion, if they put it together, have the best 11, starting 11 in the Premier League, right? They have arguably the best striker in the Premier League. From last year, if you look at it, Isak, you would have taken Isak over Haaland, right?
I don't know if I do you realize, by the way, Seb was on the show a week ago,
yeah.
Ellie.
Yeah.
Apparently, Erling Haaland is on 24 goals in all comps.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. No, this year, obviously.
I don't know if I ever want to say that.
This year, but what I'm getting at is that there's too much talent in that squad. There are 20, I know this is boring, but there are 29 games left. My prediction is they won't win the league, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the semi-final of the Champions League, because I think you can see against Frankfurt that Arne Slot is willing to try new things. He's willing to bench Salah for the Champions League, and I actually think that's where the eggs are going to be in the basket. So I'm not going to predict Arsenal winning the title, Liverpool winning the Champions League, but it would surprise me, is what I'm saying. But I don't think they're out. It's just too early, and that's fair enough, right? Arsenal could, touch wood, lose the next 4 games. Liverpool could win the next 4 games, and we'll be hearing Jamie Carragher in my head ringing, right? So I don't think it's over. Your question is, are Arsenal title favourites? The answer logically is going to be yes, right? If you look at the betting markets, and they lose a lot of money on this if they don't get it right. So they're a lot more invested than you and me decide that. It's pretty clear. If you look at the parameters of the league and how the Premier League football is looking at the moment, Arsenal's ahead of the curve. They're all copying us. So the biggest thing for me, though, that I think puts us in the position best to win the league is who we haven't seen yet. You know, Kai Havertz, Odegaard, Madueke,
Nkapie.
Nkapie. Show me the proper Arsenal team. We've got another level to go to. That's what I believe. So, yes, I do think we're favourites. Do I think that we're going to win the league? Do I believe that we're going to win the league? I'm not there yet, mate. It's too early. It's too early.
Wow. See everybody. We are brothers, yet we are so different in that point of view, because I'm already on the parade float.
But Anton's already booked his flight to London for May, you know. Look, I think in the world that we live in, Anton, that people love instant gratification and people are not patient. And honestly, the media feeds.
Oh, you're gonna love this one. This is Kane's next comment. Ellie is much more balanced. Something to learn from Anton.
That's not the only thing I'm better at. But anyway, the beta model. I truly believe that, that it's too early, and I think that the hype and the speed that we need to get to, I need to be the first one. I need to be the first one that said Arsenal's winning the league on the 29th of October, 2025.
I said on the 29th of August.
God forbid, right, that we make a prediction in February that's based off of 25 games. I'm not in a rush to make a prediction. I think a lot of the media feeds this because they're selling football, right? The reason there's so much money in the Premier League is there's so much money from the broadcasters. Where the broadcasters get their money? From all of the television ads, right? So people aren't going to watch football if they don't think it's interesting, if they don't think there's something on the line. So people want to make statements earlier and quicker and create drama so people listen and consume more and more content. Yeah. I don't buy into that.
I mean, the only logic behind what I've been saying here, Ellie, is like over the past few years, the margins are so tiny. Like I remember when we're being on the other side of the foot. Like we've dropped a few points in the season, and for instance, I don't want to throw Dad under the bus, but Dad will write like a message like this in our group chat. That's it. We're not winning the league this year. Like we drew one game to Brighton last year after a Declan Rice red card, and Dad was like, sorry, no, we're not winning the league. He was right, ultimately.
Well, he was right. Yeah, he was right.
But like that's just sort of the thing. Like for me, I feel like I don't know if the main national broadcasters are saying that Arsenal are running away with it. If anything, they're saying stuff like this. And I'll add this one to this. Oh my God, this thing, honestly. Wait, let me go. They're saying stuff like, why is this? Okay, here we go. Like this. This is what Sky Sports put out. So they're basically saying to you that, by the way, that's a lie on the ranking on the opening play goals. It's actually the 13th. I've looked that up. It's actually, we're the 13th in open play goals. So they've fixed this graphic, which I don't know what they're trying to accomplish by doing that. But instead of being like, oh, Arsenal have been so amazing, right? They want to highlight that our attacking record hasn't been that good, even though we're so clear in the league. So I think that kind of backs what you're trying to say. But for me, these are the narratives that we got when, let's say, City last year, right? Liverpool were ahead even by a little bit. And by the way, we did kind of cut the lead like by kind of around January, February time after we beat City 5-1. And then like we were heading into that West Ham game, which we dropped, where we could have actually dropped to cut it to 1 point. But people were saying, oh, that's it. Liverpool's won in the league. And again, they were right. At any point where City were in the driving seat, like they're like, no, I don't see a City ever dropping off. That's it. They've won the league. But when Arsenal go 6 or 7 points, and by the way, that's a clear gap. And I get your logic, 29 out of 38. Forget about that for a second. This is more about the way that people perceive Arsenal versus they perceive other people in the same position. When we're in this position, we're like, let's try to find excuses as to why they're in this position rather than giving them the credit or being consistent and being like, Arsenal have won the league. Like instead we're seeing graphics like this, which is, well, you guys aren't scoring enough open play goals. You guys are 20% goal from open play, 20th in goal percentage from open play, 19th in XG from open play. Like what this graphic has circulated everywhere. And that came from Sky. Like, and I'll give you a contrast, right? Here's another one. And I'll keep going. By the way, this came from Paddy Power. This is what they had to say. Arsenal will go down as the most boring team to ever win the Premier League, which, by the way, they've gone ahead. They've crowned us champions only for their head to go and call us boring. So these are the things that are coming. I see you smiling, right? This one is funny. So this was a Liverpool fan. And by the way, in 2024, this is the same guy. His name is Samuel. He goes, our new set piece routine. I might actually enjoy corners now. This is what he tweeted a few days ago. Stoke FC scored another set piece. So like, this is the stuff for me that's annoying me. Like, I'll give you another example, Ellie, and then I'll let you jump in here. So right now, for instance, Arsenal, we're facing the lowest of the low blocks. But suddenly it's Arsenal's fault. We're not playing expansive enough. But when Man City were dominating the league and they were facing the lowest of the low blocks, this is the type of stuff that I was seeing, and I wrote it down, right? So this was when Man City were dominant. Why don't teams open up and play more expansive against Man City? And now, when teams aren't opening up and playing expansive against Arsenal, we're still not the team that's opening up and being expansive. It's them. It's like we're the ones that's holding it. Like, what a twisted bit of logic. You get what I'm saying?
I think what Arsenal are doing is that we're not letting ourselves have any excuse. Mikel Arteta is not like Arne Slot saying, "Oh, they played the style of play that's not really good for us, so yeah, we couldn't play our best." There's two teams playing on the football pitch. You got to respond to what the other team is doing. But Arsenal's not making excuses. We're finding a way. We're finding a way to break the deadlock, to get that first goal. Yeah, I think an ideal Arsenal game is first goal. You can't unbreak the deadlock. You get them in a set piece. Then they're supposed to come out and try to win the game. They're not doing that, right? They're just sitting back continuously. So, yeah, it's hard to get through. In terms of the differences, whole Poppy syndrome, I don't actually think it's something against Arsenal. I think it's just whole Poppy syndrome. I think you see this a lot of walks of life, where if someone's doing something well, particularly if they're doing it in a way that you're not used to, you try to figure out and bring them down and cut them down rather than you bringing yourself up, because that's the easier thing to do, right? They must be cheating. There's no way that guy is so much better at the same job than I am. That can't be possible. Well, maybe you're just shit. Well, maybe Arsenal's just the best. You know,
we have to kind of look ourselves in the mirror as well, because when Man City were winning, we were saying, "Oh, look, 115 charges." You know what I mean? So, I mean, by the way, that's still to become true or not. We'll see that.
Yeah, we'll find out in 2029. I think is the current estimate.
But like, I do kind of get what you're saying, because I guess we've behaved in that. Sometimes if we look at ourselves in the mirror, we've behaved in that same sort of vein. Like, for instance, when Liverpool won it last year, I was like, look, Arsenal and City completely dropped. Like, Arsenal, we had 27 injuries. City had their off year. Like, they've
And
fallen
Mo
off the map
Salah
this
scored
year.
every single game.
Right. So I was giving justification for why Liverpool was doing so well. And I think myself, I was being unfair, although the way this season is playing out would kind of back that sort of narrative. But because Arsenal and City are kind of back, and now we're things are back to where they were kind of 2 years ago. But
City are back. Is that what we're saying? City are back.
No, I mean City are back
I
in
think
terms
Erling
of
Haaland is
back ahead of Liverpool.
Yeah, again, I don't buy it. I actually think that Liverpool will finish ahead of City because I think that Erling Haaland gets injured tomorrow. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Salah gets injured, they're going to be okay. They actually might be better. No one said that.
I actually have a theory about Salah, Ali.
Yeah,
I think that Wirtz and Isak's slow start to Liverpool career is a lot to do with, especially Wirtz, has got a lot to do with Salah because, like, Salah has always been creator in chief for Liverpool, and there's a little bit of an ego, like this is my team sort of thing. And Wirtz had his own team last year at Leverkusen. He was very much the talisman at Leverkusen, and it's sort of like a bump of egos where Wirtz isn't really allowed to pick up the spaces that he was picking up at Leverkusen because Salah's doing that. And he kind of feels uncomfortable. Like, and Wirtz is like, well, then what's my role in this team now? And he's kind of trying to like redefine that role in the team. And same with Isak, right? Salah is the main goal scorer for Liverpool too. And he's occupying certain spaces.
Anton,
like
all this stuff can be figured out though. I think it's a good test for Arne Slot, a lot of people say this is Arne Slot's first proper year. I think that's unfair. I mean, I think that takes away from him.
He won a title.
He won a title in his first year. But people say he had Klopp's team, except for Chiesa. And now this is, his team. I don't buy that so much. I'd love to speak more about Arsenal. Last time I checked, we're on an Arsenal podcast. But
yes. The question was the title race.
I wouldn't count Liverpool out, right? I don't think City are as strong as they might be. I think the boring game against Aston Villa proved that because Haaland couldn't score, City didn't score, right? I'm pretty sure City's second highest goal scorer is, Mr. Own Goals, very, very stalwart of the Premier League. So they're not perfect, but we also aren't perfect. The thing is that we're getting it done. And they're not finding the solutions. And we're getting the points on the board. And what I can say that makes me very confident is that first 10 games, when we look at the table and Kane's Newcastle hopefully won't be in 12th place, that's the platform. That's the platform. We're a quarter of the way through. What can you now do? Right? And I think that we've obviously got the best platform. But I think there's a lot more to go. And sure, as I said, it makes sense why we're favorites, why the bookies say that we're favorites. But we're not there yet. Yeah.
Well, like, again, this whole set piece narrative, and we'll kind of close the book on this soon as well. Because I want to show you.
Or Gary Neville. What about Gary Neville this week saying it's Arsenal's to win, not to lose?
He said Arsenal's to lose.
No, he said it's Arsenal's to win. No, he said it's Arsenal's to win. He specifically said to win.
Look,
Mikel Arteta was questioned about it. What the hell is the difference between to win and to lose? I don't know.
Well, see, one is a negative comment. So no. See, this is the difference. I actually touched on this as well, and so did Positive Dan. Big up Positive Dan. I go on his channel all the time, Gunners Therapy. Big it up. Like and subscribe to them too. But we both kind of changed the terminology because a lot of, like, for instance, Chelsea fans, right, who are suddenly Chelsea fans have been like, you guys always bottle it when it comes to trophies. You're going to bottle it. You're going to bottle it. You're going to bottle it. By the way, they're worrying about us when their club.
See this? You see this? North London forever. Much better than the bloody logo, yellow fucking rubbish they have on their top for the next 4 years. Stupid Club World Cup. Ridiculous. Now all Chelsea fans are so confident because they won a but version of a World Cup.
What Chelsea are sitting in 10th right now, but they're all talking about, Arsenal's going to bottle it. Arsenal's going to bottle it, like as if it's an obsession. But I'm getting off the topic here. So a lot of Chelsea fans will go now that they're kind of starting to see that maybe we're not going to bottle it. They're kind of it's more the ingredients. Arsenal are solid. We're not even conceding goals, let alone shots on target. So it's sort of that's the logic behind what Gary Neville is saying. It's not that we're just 6 or 7 points ahead. It's the road to us, our form dropping off is so much farther away than anybody else. There's a higher likelihood, for instance, with Liverpool playing Villa and City playing Bournemouth, and then them playing each other next week, that gap increases even further beyond 6 to 7 because Arsenal just looks so solid. Like people who are hate watching are not even seeing shots on target, let alone goals scored against Arsenal. So that's sort of the kind of the basis where I'm very comfortable as well about it, to be frank. And that's where I just think it comes from. But it's the negative connotation. So Chelsea fans will be like, it's Arsenal's title to lose, which is going to say like, if you guys fuck this up from here, it'll be the most epic bottle, and we were going to laugh in your face.
We all know that's bullshit.
That's where they're coming from, right?
Who cares?
And this is where also they're coming from, right? If you guys don't win the title now, Arteta should be sacked because he blew a massive lead. But that's the narrative they're trying to set up. When you're saying it's Arsenal's to win, you're saying, look, the points that I made before, which is like the road for Arsenal to win the title is very obvious. The formula is very obvious, and it's more obvious than what it is for the competitors, if that makes sense. So that's the difference in the terminology.
I listen to Gary Neville. I listen to the overlap, the bits that I can take. And I like Gary Neville. I like what he's trying to do. He's a salesman, though, so he needs to make things exciting. That's the business he works in. Otherwise, they won't pay for his Salford Football Club and all the money he gets for that, right? So he has to make things exciting. I think also he's now predicted for the 4th year in a row Arsenal to win the title. So I think he's just trying to get us there. So I like that then. Fine, good. Big up Gary Neville, something I never said.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's people are always like, you can look at the lens in two different ways. People are trying to give you respect, but then I feel like sometimes we're on their guard. We're like, it just seems like they're trying to set us up for failure. You can look at it in one or two ways.
Here's the thing, Anton. I guarantee you, no one puts more pressure on Arsenal Football Club than Mikel Arteta. The guy's an absolute nutcase. Absolute obsessive, detail-orientated maniac. And I love him because he's not going to let us drop standards. We don't need that outside pressure. These blokes aren't on their phones. They're not listening to Gary Neville, right? And Gary Neville is not trying to put pressure on Arsenal either.
No, I don't think so.
He's just trying to sell so more people watch Sky, more people watch Monday Night Football.
I think he's also, what else can he say based off what he's watching? Like, that's always the caveat I kind of put to this. So I said that Arsenal right now are best in class. I said this yesterday on my video yesterday. And that's just based in class over the first 9 games by a long shot. Like,
and also
I was saying, I am looking around to find, does anybody want to challenge us? At the moment, it looks like it's Bournemouth and Sunderland. Like, that's the joke that I was making yesterday. That's kind of the way it feels like right now. Like, nobody's really making a real push for the title other than Arsenal. So what else are people like myself, or I don't put myself, I'm bigging myself up too much. I'm putting myself in the same category as Gary Neville. But what are other people like Gary Neville meant to say with the evidence that's been put in front of them? You get what I'm saying? But here's one more thing, and then I want to talk about Brighton, right? Because we're going to get to the hour mark soon. And it's already 11:12 p.m. here in Australia. So this graphic has been circling around. Oh my goodness, I literally can't get my things up right now. Usually this is just smoothly transitions. This is from the same author. And who is the author of this one? Hand of Arsenal actually pointed out. I'm just gonna bear with me a second. I'm just gonna give credit to the journalist who wrote this. His name is Ian Doyle. He works He also, by the way, works for a Liverpool outlet called the Liverpool Echo, but also works for ESPN. So this was his article in 2018, 2019. The secret to Liverpool's success in 2018-19, why being good at set pieces can win you trophies, was the title of the article. We don't have time here to go through both articles individually, but I'm just reading the title. And maybe this is, very short-sighted. Anyway, this is the article he came out with a few days ago, which is how set pieces are ruining the Premier League and helping Arsenal. Now, same guy. This is the thing that's like driving me nuts. So like when your team is doing well at set pieces, which by the way, two things. Number one, he's saying that set pieces is a formula for winning titles. Now it's saying it's not. It's ruining football. But before, when his team was doing it, it's a formula for success. Like, this is where I kind of feel like that is pure bias and pure narratives driven, basically for what works for you.
Maybe deep down, there's something about anti-London. I don't know. I'd love to go back to the times that Chelsea were good. I can't even remember those times, to be honest. And
well, Chelsea has the record for the least amount of goals conceded in a season, 15, which we're chasing.
No. But the point I'm saying is that I wonder if your question is there a bias against Arsenal. I don't think it's Arsenal. It might be North England versus London, though. That's possible. Maybe it's that.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in that. But look, I think is set pieces ruining football? I think it's an evolution, right? It's like, did Mikel Arteta come up with a set piece? Did Tony Pulis come up with a set piece? No. It's been in football for ages. It's actually an old sport. My fiance, Kate, when she sings, it was a great moment in the Atletico Madrid. She woke up in the morning and Gabrielle headed the ball. She was singing set piece Ole Ole with me. She's well trained, but she knows what a set piece is from netball. So set piece is it's a part of sports. American football is pretty much all set piece, pretty much the entire thing.
I mean, NBA free throws.
That's free. Or just throw-ins.
Well, in footy, I know a lot of people. My audience is mostly from the UK, but here in Australia, Australian football, right? Literally, majority of goals are scored from free kicks. Correct?
Yeah. I guess that's a bit more of a stretch, but the point I'm saying is, I think it's absolute bullshit to say that A, set pieces is ruining football. It's a part of it, and B, that it's Arsenal that's done it, right? There's an evolution in the game. We're ahead of the curve, right? But is that a bad thing? It's just so childish, man. Just play the game, right?
This is the thing.
And you know what? You know who doesn't have an issue with it? The other 19 teams in the Premier League, because they keep
18, because Liverpool is still complaining about it, which is ironic.
Mate, when Liverpool beat us last time I checked, they won because of a set piece.
Right.
So that's bullshit. And clearly 2018, 2019, they loved it, right? Maybe the issue is with Liverpool that they sold Trent and it's impressive that they sold him for $10 million for 2-week competition, playing in the Lego pajamas in New York. But, they sold Trent and they just realized that they got a worse defender than Trent in Kirkes, right? And Frimpong. Frimpong's even worse. He's so bad they won't even play him as a right back. He's being played as a right winger. He's the Salah backup, right? I like the player, by the way, but Trent, secret weapon, set piece expert. So I think that they've lost the weapon, and maybe now their fans are like, well, we can't do it. We're not so good. And Arne Slot is complaining how other teams aren't playing in the style of play that suits them. Too bad, mate.
That is, by the way, stupid, because all the teams are going to be like,
Now we're
Well,
gonna
what do we think that Liverpool's weakness is right now? Their manager has literally told us exactly what he doesn't want to see. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep doing it.
Absolutely. Look, I'd be very interested, and I'm not inviting myself back on necessarily, but I want to see firstly what happens.
You're my brother. You are welcome at any time, bro.
I want to see firstly what happens in, like, technically on paper, the three shittest teams that we're going to play away three in a row. I want to see what happens when we go to Burnley, Slavia Prague, and Sunderland. And then whatever happens.
Oi, Sunderland are third in the Premier League. Come on.
Yeah. No, correct.
Have they been more consistent this year than Liverpool and City?
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that is a challenge, right?
Yeah.
It is now going to be a challenge. We're in the middle of winter to go and get results. And I could not care less if we win 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. I mean, thank God George Graham was in the crowd for Crystal Palace because we did that man proud. And you know what? If we're boring Arsenal, I would rather us be singing boring Arsenal and be winning titles. That's what happened in our dad's time, but we haven't seen it. So let's get there. Let's get the results. And then hopefully we go to Tottenham. We then win against Tottenham. We then got Bayern Munich. Then we've got Chelsea. Now, after Chelsea, come back to me then. Because that is to get through that away game challenge and then have those three London games. Obviously, Chelsea's at home, but those three London games that are all very high profile. If we get 6 wins, then we'll talk.
Oh, can you imagine if we
I can
win 6 out of 6? I can,
we'll
but
talk. Then we'll talk because it means because what I've been saying the whole time is it's not over, and Liverpool have got the best starting 11, and City have got the best striker in the league, even though they're way too reliant on them.
You can argue the best manager as well.
But right now they're weak, right? So what we need to concentrate on is right now. Let's get the points on the board because if it gets to December the 3rd and we're playing Brentford, if we could easily have a 10-point lead, 12-point lead by that point and already be locked into Champions League into the top 8 if we beat Prague and Munich, then we're talking. But as I said, early days.
You know what? I'm so excited to just see how this plays out because it's going to be so great.
Should we talk about the next game before that?
Yeah, let's do that. But one thing I want to cap this conversation just quickly, right? Because I just want to discuss not the elephant in the room that you suggested, which is that I have an American accent and you have an Australian accent, but the elephant in the room of like when Jeff Stelling says, "Hey, can Arsenal be a little bit more expansive?" That's bad advice. That's like, it's annoying me how unpenetrable you are. I need you guys to just to be a little bit more expansive so that you can be look a little bit more defeatable. If so to say.
Tell that to Jury and Timber.
Right. And the other thing is like we were drawing games last year because we couldn't break teams down. So now that we're being creative and utilizing long throws and set pieces, whatever, to find a way to make breakthroughs when in games where last year we were drawing, all of a sudden it's a criticism. I feel like it comes out of like it's sort of like trying to give it bad advice to somebody on purpose. They want Arsenal to kind of like listen to the paper clippings and be like, oh wow, we really need to work on being more expansive. And then all of a sudden our beautiful defensive record starts going to shit.
Do you know what I'd love to see is it's all about context and who you have available. At the moment, off the bench, we have a whole amazing starting lineup, which I'm sure we'll get to shortly, of defenders. We don't have Madueke to come on. Well, in a moment. We don't have Madueke to come on. Martinelli's now injured, hopefully short term. There's no Havertz. There's no Odegaard. There's no Jesus. So at the moment, I actually think where you could really open up teams is when they start fatiguing. But at the moment, the people coming off the bench, we don't really have people. So I actually think that we will see a more expansive Arsenal. I do think that we'll go kill teams 2-3-0, and we'll see a lot of goals after the 70th minute. But when you can start Martin Odegaard, and you can start Kai Havertz, and you can start Madueke on the left and Saka, and then you're taking Trossard off the bench, Eze off the bench, Gyökeres off the bench.
Well, I think you would
Go
start
deal with
Eze
that
in that
defenders.
scenario, by the way.
Well, whatever. We're getting specific, but you get my point,
Yeah,
mate, is that
Yeah,
we're dealing with the situation that we are at the moment, and we're dealing with it really well. I don't think what you're seeing at the moment is a bad Arsenal, because we're number one on the table, baby, right? We've scored the second amount of highest goals in the league, 16. There's a few teams who've got 17. We've conceded 3 goals in all competitions. 3 goals.
Oh, we're at the quarter
dealing with
pole
a
of the season, by the
situation that
way.
we've been
Ellie.
giving up. Exactly.
We're now between games 9 and 10.
Not
We're at the
quite.
quarter point of the season.
Yeah, halfway
Halftime.
through
Halftime of
Halfway through
Burnley.
Sunderland.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Halftime of
Oh,
Burnley.
Burnley,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah. But I guess my point is that I don't think you've seen the final iteration of Arsenal. I don't think that this is necessarily wrong, but it's not the ideal that Mikel Arteta wants. And again, injuries. But no, we're not making an excuse, because we're getting the job done in
We're not
another
making
way.
any injuries. We're not even complaining that the teams are dropping deep. We are playing low blocks because we're winning. We're finding other ways to do it rather than sit around and be like, oh fuck, I can't believe they play low blocks. Like that's what Man City fans were doing every single time. They would try to be controlling, be like, oh, when they lost, oh, this team, they came play low blocks. Why are you playing this terrorist football? To try to guilt people into trying to let them do whatever they want, the fuck they wanted to do. For us, it's like, no, we're getting a job done, whatever.
What's Fabian Herzler going to do? Do you reckon he's going to play expansively, or is he going to sit up in a mid block, low block?
Great segue. Different competition, but great segue. And let's talk about a game that we're going to have to get up for in about 7 hours from now. So which is why I got to end this stream soon. Brighton against Arsenal in the cup. Now, what would really, really suck, and I don't want to put this out into the atmosphere, would be, if there's all this amazing positive momentum that we've been building, that all of a sudden, I don't want to use the words, but where I'm going with. If we were going to go out of the cup tomorrow, all of a sudden it could change.
Some Arsenal fans want it, I hear.
No. See, this is where I'm wrong. This is where I disagree.
I don't agree with them either.
Hey, number one, we've got the depth. We've got the squad depth to deal with all these competitions, to go strong on all 4. This is not the same situation as the past. And we need to win trophies. Like, can you imagine, by the way, just how good this would be for us? Because the Carabao Cup, it basically finishes in February or March, as was last year. Like, people saying, oh, you haven't won any trophies, you haven't won any trophies. If you get that trophy monkey off your back early on in the season, that would be tremendous.
I don't think people will see it that way. I think it will be a nice celebration, but it's very possible at that point in time we're really, hopefully going to be in a good position for the league. Again, we're not getting ahead of ourselves. I think what the problem that people have with it is that double leg semi-final in January, and then add that on to the 2 additional, the 7th and 8th league phase game in the Champions League. It's a packed schedule. So I think that's where people see it. But I agree with you. I think we have the squad. I think we go for it. I think a winning mentality continues a winning mentality. And I am shocked. I'm shocked that some Arsenal fans, in a half would be okay.
Those same Arsenal fans are probably Arteta outers, who, if we were to lose, are going to be like, this is ridiculous. See, he can never win any trophies. Another trophy he's not going to win. Arteta out, even though we're 6-7 points clear in the Prem. But like, that's why I don't take those opinions seriously, bro. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, but anyway, let's talk about the game itself. And
sorry, I should have mentioned that to start with.
Yeah. I'm interested. And by the way, yeah, good. We're gonna call that out, because honestly, as Arsenal fans, and look, I know some Arteta outers, but they think they're Arteta outers, but they're a lot more balanced than they're letting on, because at the same time, it's sort of like the same people who are like, oh, I don't really trust Arteta is like, no, Arteta's doing well. He's adjusting, he's doing different things.
I was, me, I was Arsene Wenger in for a long time, so I'm never going to ask for a manager's head. Let's talk about Brighton, hey?
Let's talk about Brighton. We keep trying to get there. No, now we're going to get there. Good question about Fabian Herzl. I'm actually very, very interested to know what sort of lineup that Fabian Herzl is going to play, especially going away to the Emirates. What sort of tactics they're going to play in a cup. Ellie, give me your 11 for tomorrow.
Okay.
I just want to kind of start there.
Okay. Kepa in goal, White on the right back. Gabriel, I think, will play because Saliba is out. I think he won't change Gabriel. I think
Gabriel also was an injury question going into the last game. As in before, remember there were rumors that Nkapie would start because Gabriel came off injured in the Champions League game. I don't know if he wants to risk it. Yeah, but yeah. Okay. But is it your 11? I'm not gonna edit your 11. This is your 11.
The only thing I have is that Mikel Arteta making 10 changes will actually happen. So by the
way, this is Brighton. This is not Port Vale.
Yeah, correct. So let me start. So I reckon it's going to be Kepa, White, Mosquera. I have a feeling Gabriel, but I want Nkapie, but I have a feeling Gabriel.
Nkapie I'm still talking.
And then either Lewis Skelly or Nkapie. I'm going to go with the obvious answer, and I'm going to say he sits Gabriel and Nkapie, Lewis Skelly. It just doesn't seem very Mikel Arteta to change all of the back five, including the goalkeeper. So that's why something tells me Gabriel's starting. Then I reckon he's going to.
Oh, but you said Calafiori's fit, by the way, Ellie. You said that Calafiori's fit.
I think Calafiori sits.
So Calafiori could also play left center back or play left back.
Yeah, I think he'll be.
But you got to give Miles the minutes, or you got to give Nkapie the minutes.
I think either, but definitely one of Nkapie and Miles are starting, and maybe two of them. But definitely one of them is starting. I just have a feeling he'll keep Gabriel because just Arteta doesn't like making that many changes. Just my personal opinion. Yeah. I'd like to see Nkapie and Lewis Skelly start.
We'll find out in about 5 hours and 45 minutes. So.
No, Norgard. Then
for sure.
Then
you start
Ethan.
Ethan. Wait. Ethan's playing in left
on the right
8.
Right 8.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Right 8. Left 8. Eze.
Okay.
Then I think Trossard's going to have to start on the left. You'll have Marino down the middle. And I think Saka's starting, and I think the Dowman will come on in the 60th minute. Because it wouldn't be very Mikel Arteta to make 11 changes. I think we got to accept that it's not going to happen.
I think he's already made more changes than I'm comfortable with, actually.
Well, I think he's going to make 8 changes. That's I think what I've just said there, that's 7 changes because Trossard's still starting. So 7.
I have a sneaky feeling that so mostly, by the way, if your lineup starts, I got no problem with it, and I think there's logic, and you've given different kind of scenarios, and like for instance, the back 5 logic, what you're saying, the defense logic makes perfect sense. For me, I feel like there's no way that Rice is playing because Rice has had an injury scare, and you're saying that is Rice injured? Is that?
Apparently said he's okay. Apparently Rice is okay.
He's okay. But I highly doubt
out from Palace is Martinelli and Saliba.
Okay. This is the second time Saliba's done that. I kind of don't like to hear that. But Mosquera has been amazing. Okay. Remember we're playing Brighton. I reckon you're right. To be honest, I think Nkapie and Mosquera are good enough to be like a center back partnership at a top four club. It's a better center back partnership than Chelsea's best two center backs.
Absolutely, mate.
so,
Honestly, if we just take back four, so to speak, White, Lewis Skelly, who could bloody start for England in the World Cup final, just by the way. Let's just, maybe not White, but I'm a believer.
Miles Lewis Skelly. It's going to be a Lewis Skelly or Lewis Hall, I think. For England.
Yeah,
anyway,
and watch Reece James get injured and White be in the squad, and all of a sudden White starting the World Cup final against Spain scores the winner. Wouldn't that be a story? But our back four, our back four, I think is better than Liverpool's.
Yeah, I think by default, I gotta go. Obviously, Kepa picks himself. I mean, despite the fact that Raya has been amazing, but this is the cup, and he's gonna have been signed to Arsenal with guarantees. I reckon that he'll be the cup keeper. So I think that's
Kepa starts, no question.
So I would not be surprised. This is the way I would say it. You would say you assume that Gabriel will be in there. You'd be surprised, but you wouldn't be surprised if he went with the back four.
I want him to go for the back four, but I wouldn't be surprised.
All right. Okay, so we're on the same page.
One of the four starters.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of Calafiori or Gabriel is in the back four. I wouldn't be surprised. Right? But for me, I would say Miles Lewis Skelly, number one. When Miles Lewis Skelly played a week ago against Madrid, he was one of the men of the matches for me in that game. So he was amazing. He absolutely deserves more playing time.
I actually disagree with you. I think until that goal, he actually had a bit of an off night. I think people, but look, that's the reason we have this amazing 18-year-old for those moments, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Nkapie for me needs to play minutes because we've signed him. He's really not played. He's come back from injury. He gave him a bit of a cameo at the end of the Palace game. For me, like this player, and I've been saying on all the shows, Ellie, if you're not familiar, I was saying that I actually think when he integrates with this team, that he's probably the best left back actually Arsenal have. But he needs to start getting those legs behind him. Whether he's playing at left back or at left center back, he needs minutes. He needs to start getting used to playing for Arsenal, and he needs to get used to the physicality of the league, which I think he'll adapt to brilliantly because at the end of the day, he is a very physical player himself. He and Granit Xhaka used to get along like this when they're playing together at Leverkusen. So I think that he's going to have to start Nkapie. I think he has to. So, I think it's a waste opportunity if he's starting him on the bench in the cup, to be fair. So I think you're going to go with back four, like the backup back four. And again, Ben White was a starting right back for years before, even when Timber was here, because Timber was injured. Ben White was one of the most consistent players on our team sheet. You got Mosquera, who's literally a Saliba clone when he plays, with the exception of 45 minutes against Newcastle. Again, we've talked about Nkapie and Lewis Skelly. So I think the back four. I think that Martin Zubimendi starts because I think Rice is the player he wants to rest, and he wants a little bit of that creativity, deep lying playmaker that can help break down a Brighton. And if Rice was fit, Rice would have been the guy to play. I think he was going to start one of them. I think now that Rice has got an injury out, I'd actually start Zubi with Norgard. So I'd actually play like a double pivot of Zubi and Norgard. Rather than playing with 2-8s. Yes. And so I think Eze deserves a rest because I don't want to risk overcooking Eze in Odegaard's absence. So I'll probably play Ethan in the middle. I actually do think I agree. So I think Bukayo Saka will start on the right because, as you said, I think he's doing better health wise in terms of getting over his sickness. He also came off early the other day, and again, this is Brighton, not Port Vale, so you got to have a difference maker in there. Then I'd say I'll
be excited if Dowman starts. If I wake up tomorrow morning, check my phone, and Dowman's starting.
Oh, I would be.
I'll be excited, but I just don't see it from Mikel Arteta.
Yeah. And then, you got to play Trossard. By the way, former Brighton player as well. And up top, yeah, you're gonna
Gyökeres is also a former Brighton player.
and Ben White. So we got a trio there. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you start Gyökeres. I don't think Gyökeres plays. I think he comes off the bench.
Number one guy who has to be sat down. He's so I as we spoke about earlier, he has to be. That'll be the only thing that will annoy me if Gyökeres is starting tomorrow, because then I feel like we're really not seeing the macro picture here.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I would say Marino. So we're basically there. I think I'm one player different than you.
The interesting thing about Zubi is I think Zubi, might maybe needs a rest.
But I think there are games where Zubi came on as a sub against West Ham for as an example.
But they didn't want to do that, right? They wanted to give him more of a rest.
Yeah, I know. But again, now we're in a situation here where we don't want to risk. Rice is the one player on Arsenal's team. But I'd not give it too much of an insight into our personal life or your personal life. When I was talking to Dad, Dad said this to me at your engagement party, which we're talking about Arsenal, and he's like, with all the squad depth.
What else do you speak about at Ellie's engagement party? Of course.
Yeah, right. With all the squad depths that we have, like Declan Rice is like the king in chess. He's the one piece that if you took him out of the Arsenal team, you don't really have a solid replacement who can do similar things. So he's the one player that we cannot afford to really have go out with an injury for a long period of time. I mean, we can cope, but it won't. That, for instance, that set piece FC thing. Why are we set piece FC?
Yeah,
because he's the best freaking set piece taker in the world. So you take that out. There's your plan, right? Which is why you don't risk either of them in this game. To be fair, to be honest, you have to rest, put those guys in cotton wool, and if you need them, you bring them on. I'm not saying don't include them in the squad.
I agree, but I also disagree, because I don't think this game is about wrapping in cotton wool. I think this game is about giving minutes, giving confidence to those guys who are going to come off on the bench in the 75th minute against Sunderland and score the winner, right? Who's going to come off the bench against, Tottenham in the 80th minute and score the winner. Hopefully we're already, actually come off the bench and scored the sixth goal of the 6-0 win. What am I talking about? But that's what I think this is about. I don't think it's about wrapping up in cotton wool. Besides the, food players that are injured, and maybe there's a bit of sickness going around the camp, hopefully not from Saka. But I think it's more about giving those people those opportunities. And I really do think that Norgard's got to start, Kepa's got to start, White's got to start. These guys need to be given their minutes, because we're going to call on them to finish our games. So we need to give them this opportunity.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I think we're gonna start wrapping this up here. I mean, we can talk about Brighton, but I really don't know what sort of lineup. I can pull up my spreadsheet and give you an estimation of
as long as Danny Welbeck doesn't score against us, we're all good, because he's the only threat, it seems.
See, I don't you know what? I got to give the people a better, not a lazy analysis on Brighton. So let me pull up the squad list that I've got for them. Brighton and Hove Albion. Here we go. So the regular starters is what? Matoma, Welbeck, Minte. I think we might see. So they've got a Greek fella named Charanampoulos Kostopoulos, and Stefanos Tsimas, two Greek backup strikers to Welbeck. I'd love to see one of those two guys, but I think Welbeck starts. But yeah, they got Abdullah Sima and Solly March. I think you might see one of those. And then they got, I think Gruda plays instead of Ruter, or they can play Ruter up top because he can play striker. And then, yeah, I think you got like Baliba. I think Baliba still starts even in the cup. And then maybe he's next to Yasin Ayari or Hinshelwood. Yeah. The back four, yeah, I get Lewis Dunk, I reckon almost. I'd say they would actually start with Dunk and Webster, even though they're their second best.
I've got two words for you that I think we need to be aware of. Diego Gomez. scored 4 goals against Barnsley in their 6-0 win in the EFL Cup. I reckon he's going to be the guy that is going to
Diego,
be
central
absolutely.
midfielder.
He's
Yeah.
going to.
Oh yeah, Diego Gomez would start with Baleba. Yes.
Yeah. I think he's the threat here. But to be honest, mate, when you've got Mosquera in your team, number 1 Premier League centre back pretty much these days, or at least a carbon copy of one, I think we'll be all right. I'm not concerned about Brighton anymore. We've got to take them seriously. But I think
To be honest, it's just the fact that it's a knockout. Like, as much as we're talking about, let's rotate and give chances, guys. At the end of the day, let's win this tie. Like, I reckon it would ruin our momentum, even though it's nothing to do with the league. If all of a sudden we went out of the cup,
but imagine you can bring Gyökeres off the bench, right?
Right.
We still have all these guys that were sitting available to us.
Yeah, they better be on the bench.
But Brighton's been very up and down, this year. So I don't know. I think we'll be okay. What's your score prediction?
Hey, you're playing host for a little bit. No, I like it. See, the natural leader in my brother. By the way, for everybody, guys doesn't know, like, whenever we have like a family dinner, Ellie's always the one who's like, all right, guys, we got to wrap this up. Like, he is very, very good at telling me when it's time to end the stream. So if Ellie's saying, what's the score prediction? What's the score prediction? So there he is. I have this rule. I don't predict Arsenal conceding goals anymore. It's my new rule now, because it's just, if the odds are higher when I say nil. 2-0 Arsenal.
Now, Brian Hove Albion scored 14 goals, given up 15 goals this year in the Premier League. So I reckon it's not going to be 1-0. I don't reckon it's going to be 1-0. So it's not going to be that.
You don't think they're capable of playing the lowest of the low blocks like some of the other teams we faced?
I just don't think that's their strength, to be honest. They've shipped so many goals this year.
They shipped 4 to United.
Yeah.
They literally breathed life into Cunha and Mbumo.
Mate, they've shipped 5 times the amount of goals as we have this year in the Premier League. So I think 3-0. 3-0.
Here you go. See?
And you know what? I would love it if it's 3 set pieces. Love it. Because
I want every goal from now on to the rest of the season to be a set piece.
No, that's not what you want.
That is what I want. I literally want it because I see all the meltdowns. I see it.
No. This is my prediction. I'm going to be very specific, and I'm being recorded. So here we go. 3-0. We've got one of those goals is a worldie from Saka.
You still
one of those goals is a worldie from Saka. The other goal is
I was saying it's a set piece. Yeah.
And the third goal is choose your own adventure. See how we're feeling.
This is the third goal. This is the third goal. I'm gonna upgrade to 3-0 to Albion. The third goal is a counter-attack goal for Victor Gyökeres coming off the bench.
Yes, he comes off the bench. Yes, I love it. I
love it. And with that, on that positive note, we will end the podcast today. Thank you so much to my lovely brother, because I needed to stand in.
Finished.
Debut. By the way, for those guys who don't know, Ellie was like, I've never done this before. It's outside my comfort zone. Anybody in the comment section, right? We were watching this video, we're watching the pod, yeah? My brother is an absolute natural. In fact, he trips over his words a lot less than I trip over my words. This guy is literally sitting on the telephone all day, every day, trying to sell people insurance. And I'm like, of course he's going to be a natural on a podcast.
Thanks, mate.
So
we'll see let the comments say what they thought of me. We'll see how we go.
Amazing. All right, with that, it's almost midnight here. We got to get to bed. Both of us have girlfriends who are probably like, where the fuck are you guys still talking on a podcast when you guys should be going to bed? It's almost midnight.
My fiance is definitely asleep, but anyway. Good night, everyone. And let's go.
All right, everybody.
3-0, baby. Let's go.
Anton, Ellie out.